Today I want to talk about confidence and building confidence. This is a question I get all the time, and I know why. As human beings, it is normal for us to go through moments of doubts or insecurities. And sometimes those moments may actually affect our performance in the workplace or even in our day-to-day life and interactions. So today I want to talk about a couple of things you can do to help you increase your level of confidence over time. The first thing I want to say is that confidence is something that, as I said, is built progressively. Unfortunately, there is not a switch you can just turn on and suddenly your confidence increases overnight. Instead, it takes practice and time to actually hone your skills even further and feel more confident in the work that you can do. But some of these exercises can help you along the way as you continue to build and increase that confidence. The first thing I would say has to do with physical behavior. For instance, when you walk into a meeting, make sure that you're standing up straight, sitting up straight, and feeling ready to be engaged in the discussion and in the meeting. Sometimes I find that new hires will shy away from the table and maybe sit further away, or maybe they just don't interact as much in the meetings as others. You need to recognize that your employer hired you because they care about your input and they want to hear your opinion and your ideas. So, take advantage of the opportunities to be present and be engaged in those conversations. In doing so, over time you will feel much more comfortable in participating and being engaged. The second thing I would talk about has to do with positive affirmations. So this is something that I personally have practiced in moments of high stress. You can do it one of two ways. Some people like to journal, and so at the end of the day, maybe they make a list of the things that they're really proud of that they did throughout that day. Other people maybe are morning people and they like to wake up and write down on post-it notes some things that you really like about yourself. You can then take those post-it notes and stick them around your desk or maybe your apartment to remind you every single day of the things that you do well and the things that you're most proud of. For me personally, I like to use positive affirmations during moments of a lot of stress. I remember last year I actually had to take an aptitude exam at work. This was something that I had a lot of pressure in because I wanted to make sure I did well, but I was also just feeling nervous because there were, timing constraints, and I knew it was going to be a somewhat challenging exam. So I made sure to give myself a couple of minutes beforehand to take a couple of deep breaths and relax. And then I also repeated a couple of statements in my mind that made me feel much more confident. In doing this, I felt more comfortable and ready to actually take the exam and do well. The other thing I want to talk about is keeping a tracker or a list of accomplishments or wins that you've had throughout the year. So maybe you delivered a project and your management sent you a glowing review via email saying thank you for your work, you did a great job, or maybe a client provided feedback that was very positive, or maybe you yourself recognized that you were successful in a task that you originally thought would be very difficult. Keep track of those wins, maybe in an Excel file or maybe OneNote. I personally like to use OneNote. And so what this helps you do is two things. The first is you're able to reflect on some of the things that you've done well during that year. But the second is that when you are ready to have any sort of management review or conversation with your boss about your performance, you can then go back to this list and reference some of the moments where you were most successful throughout the year. The other thing I want to say is something I've already mentioned, and that is the importance to continue practicing and developing your skills. So, as I said, confidence is built over time. And as you continue growing in your profession, you will start feeling more confident simply because you will have demonstrated success in outputs or deliverables throughout the year. So be willing to put in the time and the effort to make your skills sharper and better simply so that you feel more comfortable and confident with the work that you do. Maybe that means that you go home after work and you dedicate an hour or maybe more to actually improve some of the skills that you're expected to work on. The other thing that I would say though is be willing to put yourself in those situations that seem a little bit challenging. I personally have found that after going through a project that seemed difficult or seemed complex, I feel much more confident in my ability to perform well in my work simply because I have demonstrated my skill sets through a situation that was particularly challenging. Don't be afraid to put yourself in those types of situations. You will find that the benefits are much longer lasting than just the deliverable or the output that you provide. I hope these exercises and tips were helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to leave a message down below. Until next time, thank you.